I know this is a very controversial take. If Klarna has no haters, I am not alive anymore, y'all.
Buy now, pay later schemes know that we want to buy things that we can't afford, so they make it really easy for us to give into temptation and spend more money than we have in our bank accounts or that we plan to spend in the first place.
I just think it's worth speaking about it in the sense of like, here's what it can be used for, but also here's what I'd recommend, like, thinking of it.
Klarna defrauded me, or at least they tried to. I received a call this morning telling me that someone tried to make a transaction on my account. When I received the call, I did think, unknown number. I've never, ever received a call from Klarna. This is where I almost fell for it.
Oh, we need to verify that we're actually speaking to the account holder, so we're just going to send you a text message and please let us know the passcode.
Carísimos. La verdad, ya los conciertos no son como antes que costaban $300 front row. I mean, yo sé que todavía están caros, pero ahorita cuestan like, bueno, Fuerza Regia costaba como 1,500. I'm like, that's a week in Cancun, all inclusive.
Check out this chart. It shows how non-housing consumer debt in America has grown over the past decade. By 2024, that number hit over $5 trillion. Enough money to buy every NFL, NBA, and MLB team 10 different times. But here's the scary part. We're constantly being hit with sneaky fees and psychological tricks that push us deeper into debt. And one of the worst offenders? Those buy now, pay later programs designed specifically to take advantage of young adults. Buy now, pay later is basically a short-term loan offered by companies like Affirm, Klarna, or Afterpay. You've probably seen it while shopping online. You're at the checkout page, ready to hit buy, and right under the total, you see a tempting little button, pay in 4 easy installments. Instead of handing over the full amount up front, buy now, pay later lets you split the cost into smaller payments spread out over a few weeks or months. Say you need a new suitcase for an upcoming trip and it costs $300. Normally, you'd have to hand over all $300 at once. But with buy now, pay later, you could take the suitcase home today and just pay $75 now, then another $75 every 2 weeks until it's paid off. On the surface, it sounds like a win. No interest, no stress, just an easy way to spread out your payments. And that's exactly how they get you. Because when you hear interest-free, your brain goes, perfect, free money. I'll just sign up and worry about it later. But as with most things in finance, the reality is a lot more complicated than the sales pitch makes it sound. Buy now, pay later isn't some revolutionary new technology. It's really just a modern upgrade of the old layaway programs that stores like Kmart and Sears used to run. Back then, if you wanted something like a dishwasher, you'd put down a deposit and then slowly pay it off in installments. The store would hold the item until you finished paying, and only then could you finally take it home. But layaway started disappearing in the mid-1900s when credit cards became popular. Suddenly, instead of waiting months to finish paying something off, people could just swipe their card, bring the item home the same day, and worry about paying for it later. It felt convenient, but there was a big downside: interest. If you didn't pay your balance in full, those interest charges would pile up fast, and you'd end up spending way more than the item was ever worth. Then came the modern version we know today: buy now, pay later. It promised the best of both worlds. You could take your product home right away, spread the cost out over time, and do it without paying interest. That pitch quickly caught people's attention. Over just a few years, buy now, pay later exploded in popularity, jumping from about $2 billion in transactions in 2019 to more than $24 billion by 2021. And the growth isn't slowing down. It's expected to climb as high as $122 billion by 2025. But this rapid growth didn't happen on its own. It's tied to 3 big cultural shifts we've seen in recent years. The first is the financialization of everyday life. We've moved away from a cash-based society to one where even something as small as a $5 coffee can be financed instead of paid for outright. The second is the rise of social media-driven consumption. Influencers constantly showcase luxury lifestyles and expensive products. Buy now, pay later gives the average consumer a way to feel part of that lifestyle immediately without paying the full cost up front. And the third is the post-pandemic spending boom. After years of lockdowns and restrictions, many people turn to buy now, pay later as a way to indulge in revenge spending, buying the things they felt they missed out on during the pandemic. Put all of that together and add in the fact that financial literacy among many young adults is steadily declining, and you get the perfect environment for buy now, pay later to take off as an entirely new way of thinking about money. So why is this even a problem? If these programs don't charge interest, how are they really taking advantage of us as consumers? To understand that, we need to compare buy now, pay later with traditional credit cards. On the surface, they look very similar. Both let you buy something today, even if you don't have the cash on hand. But here's the difference. Using a credit card usually means filling out an application, going through an approval process, and taking a hit on your credit report. With buy now, pay later, approval is almost instant. It happens right there at checkout. Then there's the issue of interest. Credit cards can pile up interest quickly if you don't pay off the balance at the end of the month, with rates often between 19% and 23%. On top of that, if you're late or miss a payment, you'll likely get hit with late fees, which can snowball into serious debt off of what might have started as a small purchase. Buy now. Pay later, on the other hand, promotes itself as interest-free. And that sounds great if you always pay on time. But the moment you slip up, late fees kick in. Depending on the company, that could mean a flat $2 to $15 charge per missed payment, or in some cases, penalties that reach up to 25% of the original purchase price. Even with all that, buy now, pay later can still look like a friendlier option compared to credit cards, which is exactly the image these companies want to sell. The truth is, buy now, pay later wasn't really built for the benefit of consumers. It was built for retailers. Brands are willing to pay higher transaction fees, sometimes 2 to 3% more than a regular credit card processor, because buy now, pay later encourages people to spend more. Imagine you're buying something for $100. If you pay with a regular credit card, the store typically pays about $2.50 in processing fees. But if you use buy now, pay later, that cost for the store jumps to around $5. And that's only the start. Those merchant fees, usually between 4% and 6% of the transaction, are one way buy now, pay later companies make money, but far from the only one. Another big source of revenue is late fees. As mentioned earlier, about 1 in 3 buy now, pay later users misses at least one payment, and when they do, companies like Affirm and Klarna collect millions from the penalties. But the business model goes even deeper. Every single purchase you make through buy now, pay later reveals information about your shopping habits, what you buy, how much you spend, and even when you tend to shop. That data is incredibly valuable, so these companies harvest it and sell it to other brands for targeted advertising. Let's use a real example. Imagine you're about to buy a new iPhone for $1,000. At checkout, you're presented with 3 choices. Option 1, pay the full $1,000 upfront. Simple, straightforward, and you walk away with no debt attached. Option 2, charge it to your credit card, which probably has an interest rate around 22%. If you only make the minimum monthly payments, that iPhone ends up costing you almost $1,500 over the next 5 years, nearly half of that just in interest. Option 3, split the cost using something like Afterpay. That means $250 today, and then 3 more $250 payments every 2 weeks. Suddenly, the phone feels way more affordable, even though the total is the same $1,000. Now here's where it gets interesting. That affordable feeling isn't an accident, it's carefully designed. Brands spend millions making sure the checkout page pushes you toward financing. They use 4 main psychological tricks. First, they reduce what psychologists call the pain of paying. Dropping $1,000 all at once feels painful, but breaking it into 4 payments of $250 tricks your brain into thinking it's not as big of a hit. Second, they tap into our love of instant gratification. We naturally value what we can have now more than what we might save for later. Only $250 today sounds way more appealing than waiting months until you've saved the full amount. Third, they create a sense of urgency. You'll often see phrases like limited time offer or only a few left. This rushes you into making a decision without really weighing the long-term costs. And fourth, they rely on visual design cues. The buy now, pay later button is often highlighted in bright colors or even pre-selected by default, making it the easiest and most tempting option to click. Put all of these tricks together and suddenly, instead of thinking carefully about a $1,000 purchase, you're just focused on that smaller, short-term number, $250 today. Now, to be fair, buy now, pay later isn't always a terrible deal. For people who know how to manage their money, it can be a way to spread out payments interest-free while letting their cash sit in savings or investments to earn more in the meantime. In theory, it can work to your advantage. But here's the problem. It takes financial knowledge and discipline to actually pull that off. And unfortunately, most Americans aren't taught the basics of personal finance. That lack of education means people fall back on instant gratification, They focus only on the smaller today payment, not the total cost they'll eventually owe. As a result, they start using buy now, pay later for almost everything, without stopping to think about how quickly those payments can add up. And that's exactly how situations spiral into debt. Because buy now, pay later is so simple and convenient, people are starting to use it in ways it was never really intended for. Originally, it might have made sense for larger purchases, a new fridge, a TV, maybe a laptop, but now it's creeping into everyday spending. People are literally financing items that should never be financed in the first place. Spending habits like this often lead to what's known as loan stacking. The name says it all, taking out loan after loan after loan and piling them on top of each other. And because buy now, pay later makes borrowing so effortless, many people don't even realize how much debt they're building up.